Hello everyone and welcome. This is Lisa. Thanks for joining me today for another video tutorial. We're going to be making a card today that uses a couple of different stamp sets. We're going to be using the beautiful the Blizzard Thinlits that also has a matching stamp set called Beautiful Blizzard. It comes in a bundle and you save 10%. We're also going to be using Merry Christmas to All and the Merry Christmas Thinlits that also is offered in a bundle, and you can save 10%. So I was showing you the card and I hope that you could see the detail. We're going to be using the embossing mat to create that background, and we're going to be painting the snowflakes with shimmer paint to create a really pretty effect. So the first thing we need to do is get some snowflakes. So I just have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of paper of cardstock, white cardstock, and I ran it through, and I've got a bunch of snowflakes and I have this really cool background, but all I really need is 3 snowflakes. So I pulled those out, but be sure that you save all of that because you can definitely use that in another project. So we're going to do our shimmer painting now, and I've sped this up quite a bit. We're using the Frost White shimmer paint, and be sure that you shake your shimmer paint up really well. There's a little ball bearing in there, and shake that up well. And I'm going to be just painting these snowflakes. I'm going to use my take your pick tool, the pointy end, just to sort of hold it down in the center, and afterwards I'll wipe it off well. So I'm just going along and putting just a light coat on these. You don't need much. I'm just using a regular brush. It's a watercolor brush, but it works just fine. Any brush will do. Be sure that you wash your brush right after you're done using the shimmer paint. I have this small little cup of water here, and I'm going to dry it off. I've also wiped off my pick. Okay, so now we're going to emboss, and let me say up front that this is not the recommended way that Stampin' Up! Says to do it, but I have been doing this for many years and it's always worked for me. So what I have is the Big Shot platform, a clear acrylic plate, the gray embossing mat, my cardstock, my Thinlit, and then I'm going to put the acrylic plate on top. Now, this does not harm your embossing mat at all. As you can see, no harm has come to it from doing it this way. This is just the method that I choose. So if you do this, do it at your own risk. So this is what we've got, this beautiful background. And what I've done here is I've cut out the word Christmas, and I've already stacked 3 of them together, and I'm just showing you here for the 4th one. This just creates a nice dimension for the card. So I'm just using my quill tip bottle here. That's actually Tombow multi-purpose adhesive in there. And we're just going to go ahead and lay that on top and sort of line it up. That's the great thing about glue, is it gives you a few minutes to get your act together. And so now we have that, and it's going to be really pretty when we get it on the card. And so now I'm just going to add some glue to the back and then lay it on the top of our embossed piece. Okay, and then I'm going to set something heavy on that, set it aside to dry. Okay, now I'm going to do some heat embossing, and I'm using my Stamparatus because I'm going to double heat emboss, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So I'm using my anti-static powder tool here to get rid of anything that might stick where I don't want it to stick. I'm putting in my piece of cardstock here, which you can see is just a scrap, adding my magnets, and I have the word blessing already in there. So I've used my Versamark ink and I've stamped that. Now I'm going to pull it out and add some white embossing powder. I apologize for my elbow. My powder is over on the side. And then I'm going to heat emboss that. And it's just not bright enough, and it just doesn't have enough dimension for me. That's why I'm going to go ahead and double emboss this. So I'm sticking it right back into my Stamparatus, which is the beautiful thing about that, is you can go right back where you were, adding more Versamark and stamping again. Get the same exact position that you had before. I'm adding more embossing powder and heat embossing that once again. And you'll see when I'm done about how much brighter. See, it's brighter and it is has more dimension. So I'm going to be using one of the label dies from the Merry Christmas Thinlits. I'm getting out my magnetic platform here, and I have an acrylic plate, and I'm just kind of centering that there, my greeting there in the middle of that Thinlit. And I'm going to just pass that through the Big Shot. Okay, now that my Christmas is dry, and I'm adding 3 dimensionals to the back of that piece that says blessings. And I'm going to go ahead and just add that right underneath. Trying to make sure it's straight. It's hard to do that when you can't be directly over it because you would be looking at the top of my head. Okay, now our snowflakes are dry. So we're going to pull them off of this piece of just packing extra. I don't even know what it is. It's plastic. It's good to work on plastic or your even your silicone mat would be good. It tends to stick to paper, so I recommend putting it on something like that. So I'm using the mini dimensionals and I'm adding that to the large snowflake, and I'm adding that down to the bottom. And then for the smaller snowflake, I've cut a mini dimensional in half and I'm adding that to the back. Boy, that's tiny. Okay, wonderful. Now we have that on there. It's just getting prettier as we go along. So now I'm going to add some silver sequins. These are left over from a previous year. I can't even tell you what year. I think a couple of years ago, but I'm going to go ahead and use them up. There are metallic sequins in the annual catalog that are available. So I'm just putting down some of that glue, and I'm using my take your pick tool to grab those up. It does a nice job. Now I've gone ahead and added some more sequins to the front of the card there. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. And we're going to go ahead and do the inside of the card. And I've stamped that with one of the greetings from the Merry Christmas to All. And I'm just adding some fast fuse here. By the way, this is 4 inches by 5 1/4. trying to get it straight here. And then I've added that third snowflake inside. Okay, now I have a strip of 1 inch by 5.5 inches of the silver foil paper, and I'm going to put that across the card, and it's going to go all the way across, and I'm going to put it in the center. I had a little adhesive there on this side, so I just rubbed it off with my finger. I think this just sort of pulls the card together, so that's why I went ahead and added that. I didn't have any silver ribbon, so I decided to use that. And so there's our card, folks. I hope you like it. I think it's just beautiful, and that embossed background really makes it, along with the painted snowflakes. It's just a gorgeous card. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you live in the US and don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. All my contact information is over on my blog, as well as all of the measurements and other information about this project. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. And happy crafting. Bye-bye.